ADU and construction, please have to stage Amy Tran from Apex Homes, Cindy Harari, and then we have Vicky Nguyen. Also a reminder, we have a food truck right outside that's available for purchase. So if you're hungry, want to pick a bite, we have our food vendor right outside. We have Vicky. Okay, Vicky, have a seat. And then we have Cindy. Over the home buying process, loans and financing, and now we're going to dive into building wealth, construction, and ADU. So as I go around, please go ahead and say your name and just a quick intro to remind our audience what you do.
My name is Cindy and I'm from AKI Design Group. We are doing architecture and interior design services.
Hi again, my name is Amy with Apex Homes.
My name is Cindy. I'm from Apex Homes as well, and I'm construction and hello everyone, I'm Steven. I'm Amy's assistant.
Hi everyone, I'm Vicky. I'm the victim of the...
Vicky, just a quick introduction, and then we're going to go over red flags in construction.
Oh yeah. I'm Vicky and I'm the owner of One Healthcare LLC.
So as we dive into wrap up that, what are the current ADU opportunities in California?
Yeah, so there's a lot of ADU opportunities right now. As you all know, the housing price is so high. I cannot afford a house right now. I grew up and I'm in real estate, right? So I think with ADUs, there's so much opportunity because we can't make more land. What we have in the earth is there, right? But we can maximize the area that we have with all of the existing homes, helping our family stay there for investment, for our kids, our aging parents. So there's just a lot. Did you want to add a little bit on? Am I passing this around or?
You pass around. So as we dive into, so what should homeowners evaluate first before deciding to build an ADU?
So for the ADU, I think the best benefit is for maybe young couple and they want to help with the burden for the mortgage and they want to rent out the space so they can build the ADU so they can rent out the space to help with their mortgage and then also get take care of their parents, so the parents can come over there, live in the ADU, the young couple can take care of the parents, the married parents can also, take care of their children, things like that. It's like, how to the connection between the grandparent and the grandchildren. I think that's a very good thing. And then also, not only you have one ADU, you can also do the JADU. So the JADU, you can have the grandparent live there, and the ADU children can also rent out. So in that for the rule, so one single home, you can have one JADU and one ADU. So this is a double benefit. So I think it's very good. Especially a few years back, when the first law came out, I was like, this is very good opportunity. I wonder how it's going to take off. And all of a sudden, this has moved like that. It's just become a very big market right now.
So what should homeowners evaluate before they decide to build an ADU?
So I've been doing a lot of high-end construction, and a lot of people see our job site as a question of all of a sudden there's an ADU, and I try to bring in more knowledge and introduce them what we're doing, and most of the decision they initially take on is that they want to build ADU for rental to maximize the potential of their landlords. So so really the first thing first is to maximize potential.
Yeah, I think the best benefit of the ADU is you have a double space to live in, but you don't need to pay much for property tax, and easy for you to go between first house.
I'd like to add on to that. I think it's just important to really understand what you want. Everybody's different. All of the clients that I help, they just had a baby, they need more space to live. Their kids just graduated college, they can't afford a $1.5 million home. They're gonna come and have their amazing parents help them build it. Or their parents are now 70, 80 and can't take care of themselves and need help, right? You can see a lot of Asians in here. Like we're very family oriented, right? So you want to take care of your family and do everything you can to help them. So I think the first step is just really understanding what you want and also your backyard and what you want to keep. Some people have a special tree or certain area where they spend time in. So we work with you to kind of figure that out as an architect designing it, right? So I think just working with you to understand what you want.
So I think for us, as realtors, as we're taking our buyers to check out properties in the lot or land size, everyone gets very excited. They want to be able to build an ADU in the front or in the back, but of course, there's certain things you must do in order for that to happen. But what is the, I would say, basic criteria for an average buyer to walk in? What can they look for if it is ADU potential?
Well, I think the primary thing is to make sure that it's zoned residential, and then you want to look at kind of the setbacks. One of the most important things is flood zone, as pointed out. PG&E is always a problem when you get involved with them. And I think, frankly, the state of California has made it very easy to build ADUs now, so they're very flexible. I think the most important thing you want to look for in an ADU is ultimately your neighbors. If your neighbors have an ADU, then most likely you'll have an ADU as well.
Just want to add really quick, Steven is not my assistant. He is our amazing architect. So I just wanted to clear that up for you.
But unfortunately, architects do work for realtors. So.
So what is the most common reasons ADU projects get delayed? Everyone wants to get an ADU, they think it can happen overnight. But what is realistically the number one reason why they get delayed?
So to get delayed because I think most is they choose the wrong contractor.
Tell us more.
Right. So let me dig deep into it because a lot of contractor they do a quick job, get out, right? So we have X Home, we have everything in house. We have design team in house. We have structure engineer team in house. We have construction team in house, and most of our construction trades are also in house. So we are there. We're not going anywhere until we finish the job and we take the money. But but before that, we make sure our client is happy, right? But another thing is that again, Stephen already told us about PG&E. A lot of PG&E decision we cannot control PG&E, right? Also, a lot of clients like to customize the ADU and this change and the revisions happens. So there's a lot of stuff delay the project, but mostly the most costly is to choose the wrong contractor.
Yeah, I think Ben hit that on with the construction, but there's also delays prior to that, right? The construction is kind of the last phase of the project, right? We have everything before, so you have your initial stage where you're doing your design and your zoning and all your sketches and things like that. And then once we submit it to the city, do you guys think the city is fast or slow? Slow. So we have a lot of delays, even though we have pre-approved plans with our company. We can get permits pretty quickly. Within the fastest is like a month and a half. In San Jose and neighboring cities, your property has to qualify for the pre-approval. So, how many houses around here do you guys think are in a flood zone, or in a fire zone, or in geohazard, or historic? There's a lot around there. Most of San Jose is in a liquefaction zone. Anybody know what a liquefaction zone means? This is like, it sounds really fancy, right? What does liquid mean? Water. So in the event that there's an earthquake or sudden huge movement, the soil underneath could shift. So the permitting team and the planners and all the architects have to account for that, right? So the city takes longer to review things like that. And then also like fire sprinklers, we have to account for as well. I had a client where they had their fire hydrant on another side of their neighborhood. So if it's usually over 400 feet away, the city is going to require new fire sprinklers, which is like, anybody guess how much fire sprinklers are for your ADU? Anything, just shout it out. $200? 1,000? 20,000? Yeah, usually fire sprinklers, what we're seeing is a lot more than $200. It's around maybe like 8 to 15K, depending on how big the ADU. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that the city and the permitting can take long too.
Yes, I have to add on to that. I agree. So if you have to determine, the zones first of all, and then you have to have a geological report or soil report to determine this is going to be the liquefaction or it's going to be the flood zone. So when you design it, well, because I do have a project, so everything's approved, and then all of a sudden they say, you know what, I want the soil report. Give me the soil report. And after this have the soil report say, it's not enough. I want the geological report. And they just everything is delayed because of that. BGV is another big deal. 6 months. Yeah, I know. As some project is waiting, the house will be built and then just sitting there for 6 months because no BGV, no electrical, no one can move in and live in there at all.
I just wanted to add on to the PG&E. 6 months. Can you imagine going home every day? You have this brand new, beautiful ADU that your architect and construction team built, and you can't even go inside it? Like, oh my gosh, that's crazy, right? So we have in our company a team that's just focusing on improving all of those challenges. So our mother company, Alpha X Real Estate Capital, which is a kind of our founder, Apex Homes is the sister company. We partner with PG&E directly to talk with them and speed up that process because it affects everybody, right? So we want to make sure, like, how can we improve the process so that when your ADU is done, you can just move in and be happy and not stare at it for 6 months.
So next, we want to talk about what are some red flags homeowners should watch for when they're hiring a contractor.
Yeah, I'm a victim, so I can share with you guys the tip. Yeah.
So we want to be able to keep it informative, so we don't want to list the name of who you used, but share your experience.
Yeah. So my experience is I have a group around city wisdom from San Jose and Bay Area, and yeah, so 90% if we build ADU. So for me, I build the ADU for my business, and I think it takes around 1 year for me to look at the contractor. So the first thing you would like to double check the contractor and license. You can go to the website of CSLE. You can check the number of the license, make sure it's active. The second thing, of course, you need to know where they are. You come to the address. Oh, this is the house, or they just rent it. You can ask realtor to check, is it the owner or not, right? If they told you that they will build for you, make sure you have a contract. And within the rule, you just need to pay 1,000, no more than that. But in fact, they make the deal with you to make you feel okay. You can pay more because you want cheaper. So make sure you look around what the real price. The price, make sure it's reasonable. Because who you want to chicken you, they will show you, oh, this is so cheap. Right? And then you get that. Okay, you can pay if that for him. So when you choose the contractor, make sure you check the license. The second, you need to ask them the W-9. The W-9 can show you the social security number, Who will want to talk with you about the social security number? Right? That when you work with them, of course you have right to add the W-9. Because if something happened, who will say hi to the IRS? Oh no, nobody wants the IRS. Is it correct?
Vicky, can we go back to just highlight and high level? What are some red flags to avoid when hiring a contractor?
Yeah, so you need the license, you need to know who they are, you need to double check that the how you built before or the how they built for somebody before, and you can compare the price. Because all the scam they all the way to do is show you the cheap price. And the second thing is you can check with the community. Community is very important because they can show you who is good, who is not good, and you can check with the history of the contractor. For me, I check everything, but in the end of the story, they still cheating because I already paid for them at then. So do not pay for them at then.
Next, in order to do an ADU, how important are permits and what risks do homeowners face if work is done without them?
I'll answer that, but also I want to reinforce what you said too. I think the due diligence process of looking at contractors, especially red flags, is like one, asking for references, right? And then looking at the details of the process. They want 50% of the payment up front. That puts you as a homeowner very much at risk. They can just walk away and they don't have any recourse. But your question was around permitting. So I think the permitting one, every city is very different. Every city will have different, let's say, design requirements and or regulatory processes. The forms are also different. And so the best thing one can do to prepare for that is to have an architect or a designer such as yourself really go through very thoroughly what the requirements are. The reason why cities are usually slow is because, again, every intake is different. So what works for Santa Clara may not work for Sunnyvale. If this incorrect information slows down the processing on their front, then there's delays in construction because the contractor will have already signed all this crew on the schedule. And if you don't have the permit release in time, your crew goes somewhere else.
Construction, we bills made on permits. No permit.
Yeah, I have to add on to your point. So different cities definitely have different requirements. For example, some city is harder than the other city. City of San Jose is very slow because the amount of work they have and the amount of a lot of unpermitted work. So they have to legalize. So that's why they are very slow. I agree with that. On the other hand, for example, like the city of Mountain View, the city of Sunnyvale, they are difficult. They're not an easy pipe. And it's also depend on the plan checker. The plan checker in San Jose actually happen to be the most easy one because they just want to get all the project done. The project in Sunnyvale, some of the plan checker, they are even commercial. And they have to be assigned to do on the rest of the project. And they just want to do the design of the commercial quality on the rest of the project. So for example, the ADU, they want to fire rate in the ADU for no reason. I have to fight with them about that. Say why we have to fire rate it all the wall for the ADU. So it's also like I say, depend on the plan checker, also depend on the process too. The process in Sunnyvale is faster because they move on very fast, but because maybe because they have less project, but the project in San Jose is lower just because you number of project, but the plan checker, the experience is, it's different. Everything is different. So some of the clients come to me and say, I expect it to be done in 1 month. No, it's not going to happen. So it has to be, it's happening how based on the city time. So the city time is very unpredictable. We cannot just predict the city is going to get it done for you 1 or 2 months. So give a contingency 3 to 4 months. Yeah.
Just want to add on that really quick. there's all these issues. Oh my gosh, are we scaring you guys for the ADUs? So yeah, all these challenges, right? So how do we solve it? It's really all about relationships, right? Who you know, right? So I'll give you an example. We have senior people in our company who have been building homes for over 40, 50 years, senior civil engineers, architects. So we had a challenge in San Jose where we went to the city and they told us that we couldn't build the ADU in the back because there was some type of easement. They called it a relinquished access area. What does that mean? So we checked it out and they said, yeah, you can build. And our senior civil engineer, Kevin Wise, he talked to his buddy, longtime colleague in the city, and I guess there was just a miscommunication. That's all it was, right? But as a normal homeowner, are you going to try to fight back with the city and start going back and forth with them? No, right? You're going to listen to what they say. So we figured it out, and now we have the project. It's a 2-story, 1,000 square feet ADU. It's almost done. We can go and show you, but just an example like that. It's just about the relationship and how we can figure it out.
Sometimes you have to fight. Sometimes you have to fight with them because, we are human and our knowledge is very limited. So what I know and what they know totally different. And sometimes, for example, I have a plane checker. You think the plane checker is very experienced and very knowledgeable, but sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're very also not senior. They just junior, they come in, they don't understand. And sometimes they miss the code. And sometimes, they say, oh, this is about 30 feet. Say, no, it's not. You have to fight with them. And sometimes we have to win the fight because sometimes their reasons are very ridiculous and it's not acceptable, Yeah.
Professional, help you out. You don't have to deal with all of that.
Yeah, because sometimes, I say, okay, fine, it's a small thing, I'll let it go, but this is ridiculous. It's going to cost my client another $30,000. Violated, that won't make no sense. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to fight with you. And, and then here's a code, grab the code, and then they look at the code and say, okay, fine, right. So, to say the client, a lot of money for that. That's great.
I have the real story how to make the permits come better, sooner. That's when I work with the city. I and my architect and the co-worker in the city all the way email with 3 of us. So if you let the architect do that with the city, it maybe take longer, but the owner always stay with them, put them. So I get the permit easier and exactly what I want. That's my experience. But I'm not living in San Jose, so I don't know what's going on in here. But in my city, it go very good. That I live in El Sorrento, and the city help me in maintenance. Yeah, that's my story.
The topic of ADUs and construction, ever since it became legalized and we're able to inhabit sanitary in certain counties, it's a very exciting topic, but it is also a very complex process. So we need to have the right team, the right company, the right resources to help you, and of course avoid these red flags when hiring contractors. And I think that goes with everything in life, right? Whoever you're hiring, do due diligence, vet them out, see their past projects, and understand the process. Find someone that's resourceful, helps you explain the process, and set the right expectations, right? Because a lot of times you don't know what you don't know. You want to have the right person guiding you through your process. With ADUs, it's a great opportunity. We just have to find the right partners and companies to help us make that dream come alive. So any last remarks and any tips you want to give to our audience?
Yes, I do. Actually, regarding to your issue, I know that you have to check license, but nowadays I think there's another thing coming out. Is like the contractor borrowing the license from someone else. Yeah, so they say, oh, I have a license. Okay, here's my license, but it's not their license. They borrow for someone else, someone who like retired or someone they work underneath. Things like that too. So that's another thing you should be aware of. Yeah, having the license number doesn't mean that this is their license. But like you say, looking for the reference, the project, asking the client, asking the contractor, do you have different reference phone number I can call, so to verify that you actually do the project and how's it look like, how's the experience. So that's also a very good thing.
One of the nastiest things you can do for a contract project they're starting in is to tell a client to go visit one of their current active job sites without notice. You show up and you like surprise inspection, so to speak. That one would be most as a homeowner. And then you can say like, oh, do I want my property to look like this? If so, then yeah, work with them. If not, then or someone else. But if I do a surprise inspection on the inside, it's always clean, meticulous, and everything's on schedule. So.
In their industry, when you do a good job, you get referrals. People will spread the word, people write reviews, people will, give recommendations. But we have the power of the internet and social media. So with our community, if you do a bad job, if you do not have integrity, or you do certain things that our panelists mentioned, we wanted to remind people that, our network is very small. You want to be able to be protected, and people will vet you out. But nowadays, people are very savvy. They can find out if you use someone else's license. They can find who you are. They ask references. So nowadays, we have to do our homework. Do research on our contractors and whom we're hiring, making sure that they have references for past projects. But at the same time, it's our approach, right? Because with us in our industry, is the approach and the ask. When you want references, or you want referrals, or you want certain information to make sure that this contractor is legitimate. So those are just very, very expensive mistakes that can happen if you don't contact the right contractor, you're not working with the right contractor.
Okay, can I just add one last thing? We can talk about this all day, but sorry, I'm gonna wrap it up because I know Paige is looking at me. So we're in real estate, you can buy and sell homes, right? Can you raise your hand if you think we can buy and sell an ADU? Yes, you can sell and buy an ADU now with AB 1033. Right? It is a state law that allows you to sell an ADU separately from your existing home, which is like a whole new market that just opened up. And our company was the first to do it in the state of California, so it's really exciting. Yeah, a lot of opportunities.
One last. My last take is build the right way, live a peaceful life.
That's right. Such an exciting topic. Give them a round of applause, everybody.